Okay, so I have this strong message that came out, so it just needs to be said before I go into the reading. I feel like a lot of you have an ex, somebody that you were, kind of not able to break away from. And I feel like it's an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, X. And I feel like this person was a major, major, major drain on your financial situation in whatever way. In some way, they were a major, major drain. So either you've had to help them out of many, many financial situations, or they're just like kind of reckless, irresponsible when it comes to financial resources. And I feel like the relationship, whenever you were together with them, it was just chaotic. Okay, it just didn't fulfill you emotionally. There was a lot of passion and excitement, of course, but that is a relationship that is a major blockage to you achieving, stability, to you achieving happiness. And do not let this person interfere in your life anymore. So don't go back to it. Okay. So that's the person that's coming through. And I just want you to just let it go. And the reason I say that is this is a card here about, restriction. So in a way it is expansion. But if you look at it, she's pretty much restricted as well. And she's looking back at her past. Okay. So you're male or female watching this. It doesn't matter. I feel like, some of you have an ex. It is a toxic relationship, and either they borrow money from you or you need it to like get money to help them some way. And they need to be able to take care of themselves. People always fall on hard times and there are always exceptions. But I feel like if this is an ongoing thing, if it's a cyclical thing happening with them over and over and over again, and you're constantly the person that they come to bail them out of a jam or to get some type of financial assistance from, this is a toxic relationship. So please let it go. All right. We're entering into a new year. You're starting a new cycle. Things have come full circle. So just let people go. All right. Let me talk about the past. And in the past, we have here the Page of Coins. So this is basically, the person I was talking about. And that message was for those of you dealing with this person. But I'm going to talk about this in a more neutral way as it applies to more people. This is an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. This is somebody who is perceived as being very, very flirtatious. They have the wandering eyes and they flit from one pretty face to the next. Okay. And that could be male or female. It doesn't always have to be a male. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising, that they just go from one thing to the next. And they say a lot of things, but they don't really hold up their end of the bargain. And I feel like this is somebody that is, I mentioned this before, I believe for you guys, where they have they have really, really strict high standards for other people, but they're very lenient on themselves. So I feel like this is a total hypocrite. Just be very careful. And it's linked up here with the Queen of Coins as well. And the Queen of Coins is what brought me to say that, they're a blockage to your financial blessings. This is a relationship in which, for whatever reason, you took care of them, you loved them, you nurture them. And then I feel like you didn't get anything back in return. You came out of it pretty empty-handed. And I feel like, it can go both ways, but I feel that for those of you who are watching this, at least, I feel like you gave so much of yourself, so much of your time, and putting your life on hold, waiting for the other person to get their act together, waiting for them to grow up. And I feel like I don't feel innately they're a bad person. I just feel like they're childish. I feel like they're a little bit hypocritical because they have very lax standards for themselves and they hold grudges. And I feel like they can also nitpick. I feel like for some of you, you are still financially, involved with somebody from the past. Like you're still financially linked up with, and you are trying to get your fair share from that financial pot. And it's really difficult for you to move on until you are able to recoup your loss. And so you're hanging on to this situation. There's a lot of hostility. There's a lot of resentment. There's bitterness. And I feel that it's, you want to move on, but you don't know how you can from it, which brings us into the present situation. We have the Hierophant, and the Hierophant is basically, in the reverse, it's usually indicative of a divorce. Pending divorce that is happening right now or being discussed. And this is also a relationship breaking down, a significant relationship breaking down. And it's linked up as well with the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands is like the arrows of love. I usually think about this as communication. And I feel like there is some type of, for those of you who are in a coupled relationship right now, there is some type of a stalemate when it comes to communication. There is some communication breakdown. You both are not talking to each other for whatever reason. And I feel like the dynamics within this relationship that you're currently in, there are financial problems at the root of it, which is creating, almost like a sense of isolation, a sense of resentment. So somebody's not doing their fair share to like chip into this relationship, either emotionally, physically, or even financially. And there is an imbalance within the relationship. And one partner is very resentful and the other partner is not aware of it. So you need to do some type of, have some type of a soulful communication in order to resolve this issue. Okay. Which brings us to the foundation. And the foundation is something that we know to be true. We have here the Five of Pentacles. Somebody is falling on hard time. Somebody is like in need of financial assistance, in need of that emotional or even spiritual support, or even, uplift. So I feel that somebody is feeling very, very much alone, isolated, as if they are bearing the weight of that financial burden, and they're bearing the weight of the stress and strain, trying to keep everything going. And you, Aries, you are a very, very loving, generous sign. And I feel a lot of the times too, you get yourself in situations and before you know it, things pile up, neck deep. And you're just like, how did I get there? So one of the things I would advise you is to slow down when it comes to your relationship. And really, if you are taking on a huge financial burden for a partner, I feel that you've already given your word. So you feel like it's a binding contract. I can't really back out. What will they think of me? Well, you need to take care of yourself. So if you feel so stressed and overwhelmed because of the relationship, because of the burdens, because of your word, because of your obligation to the other person, it's really affecting your emotional health. And so before you form any binding contract about what you're going to do, you need to really reassess long term whether or not it is even humanly possible for you to take on that burden. Because I feel that it breeds resentment, okay? In every situation, for every sign, if there are innate imbalances, it creates a lot of hostility and resentment. And I feel from your end, I feel that, you gave somebody your word. So you feel that you feel obligated to do it. And it's pretty much telling you that this is a relationship, should not be a binding contract. It should be, done out of free will. So you want to reassess some major financial arrangement if you are romantically linked up with another person. Okay. I do feel as well, May not being a great month. So just keep that in mind and try to rectify the situation as soon as you can. It's also linked up here with the Hermit, and the Hermit is basically lack of insights. Okay. Lack of higher wisdom, lack of insights. So let me just say, I feel like there is a huge financial burden in this relationship. And I feel like you might have financial assets. You're linked up with another person, and they're either you are separated and pending divorce, or you have been divorced and you're trying to recoup your losses. And I feel like the other person is either living large and you're left with like scraps, and you feel the injustice of it. And I feel that you're trying to find ways to strategically, land this situation in your favor. So that's for those who have recently divorced or are dealing with a relationship where there are some type of imbalance as it comes to money and how much partners are putting in. Okay. Crowning this reading is something that you are thinking about. We have the World once more, and the World is basically talking about opportunities that are going to be available to you when it comes to dating, when it comes to dealing with other people, and when it comes to, overall success. I feel like a lot of you are dealing with an air sign in your romantic sector. So an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. this is not a good relationship partner as of yet, okay? So if you are heavily thinking about this person, if you're not involved with them and you're heavily thinking about them, this is somebody who's not truthful, who's not honest, who's not a relationship partner material. They're very independent, and I feel that they're not looking for a relationship at this time. So if this is especially somebody from your past that you're not able to let go of, please do, because it's creating, you can't think about one person while trying to move on with the next. It's going to be very difficult, but I feel that for some reason you're putting your life on hold, and you're trying to cater to this person. I feel like they're not responsible either. They're kind of a little bit, they're not bad people, but I feel that they for whatever reason, they're not going to be able to give you the life and the relationship that you're hoping for. Okay, for whatever reason, circumstances might not allow them to do that. They might not be financially stable right now because they're going through I feel like they're going through their own karma. When it's linked up with the world, there's some karma has to complete on their end in order for them to reach that state of enlightenment where they are fully cognizant of the consequences of their actions in order to straighten out their lives. They're not in the right space and the right frame of mind to give you the relationship that you're hoping for. So be careful, because I feel like you are making justifications for this person and they're not going to be the person that you want them to be as a romantic interest. Okay. And then for others still stuck on an earth sign you're not able to let go of, you might have financial linkages. What's coming through for you guys, especially for those who are single, especially, we have here the Three of Coins, which is, wanting to take a relationship to the next level. This is a card about building something out of value with another person. It's also linked up here with the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords this is in the reverse. So traveling from a very, very tumultuous situation into safer water. When it's in the reverse position, it's basically indicative of like having to sail back in order to resolve some unfinished business. So I feel for those of you who are in a relationship and, it's kind of like, you're starting to see the stress and the strain. You need to communicate in order to rectify the situation. It's an uncomfortable situation because it's about money, and money and is not like the sexiest topic to bring up with a romantic partner, but it is a discussion that needs to be had. There is some imbalances as it pertains to, who's doing what, who's chipping in what. And I feel like there is a little bit of resentment brewing under the surface, and that needs to be addressed as well. If you are dealing with an earth sign, I feel that there is an element here about this person reeling you back in. Earth and air, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, they're reeling you back in. They might be in another relationship and they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. And I feel that it's not a good idea for you to try to do that, okay? If you're dealing specifically with an air sign, I feel like they're trying to do something to better their life. And I feel that they're trying really, really hard. So give them a little bit of space and a little bit of support if you can. If you're like at your wit's end and for whatever reason, just have that discussion. I feel like they're trying something to better their lives. But the earth sign from the past, I just feel like that's a dead end pretty much, because I feel like this person is not wanting to build a future. Okay, they're reeling you back in. When you slip away, they reel you back in. So it's not it's a toxic relationship. All right. For those who are single and dating, I do feel an element here of meeting people from a foreign land, meeting people that are quite different from you. And I do sense opportunities for social engagement, social dating, meeting people that want to get to know you over, like a lot of conversations being exchanged. And with the world and with the Three of Coins, it usually indicates like group dates, So for example, you might have your eye on somebody and you're going out as a group and you're getting to know that person over, at a brewery, over a cup of, some beer or some drinks or wine or whatever it is. I feel like it's a lot of group settings where you can meet people that, are like outside of your usual type, where you are going to have like an exchange of conversation I feel like conversations borderlining debates. And I feel that it's really going to open you up to meet new people, but to also like broaden your horizons when it comes to your philosophical beliefs, okay? Because the people are very different from you. I don't feel like an actual person coming through for those who are single for this month, but I do feel a lot of interest being generated, okay? I do sense a lot of attraction. This is also what I say, like, you know, the one night stand, being very physically attracted to somebody, but not having it pan out in the way that you'd hope. But I do see a lot of interactions with what they say, like foreigners, okay? So I hope the reading has been helpful for you, Aries.